Lock the gates! Are we doing this? We're doing this. Hello, welcome to my podcast. If this is your first episode, I begin with a monologue. So if you want to skip ahead to my interview with Mike Kaplan, skip ahead. I saw an interview with Mark Maron where he was talking about how his podcast ends with a big meandering monologue, and that most people skip the monologue. But some people like the monologue and like learning more about him, and that it's nice to offer that extra bit to his fans if they want. Give them a chance to get to know him more, or if they don't want to get to know him, that's fine. I'm watching my dog totally wiggle because I just got home a bit ago. So he's pretty much wiggling. You know that thing when you have a dog and you get home and they're like, holy shit. Yeah. I just got home from this event. It was a get to know you event with Ray Wong. Ray Wong is running for mayor of Los Angeles. So this was a meeting of, community organizer types, pastors. It was cool. They had chips. They had wine. Pretty cool time. Check out Ray Wong. I hope she becomes mayor. She was really cool. She wants to run on free buses, and now my dog is slurping up water. I wonder if you can hear it. Maybe this mic is so directional and perfect that you can't hear my dog stomping around eating kibble, which is very cute. So yeah, today's conversation is with Mike Kaplan. Mike Kaplan is a terrific comedian. I've been a friend and fan of his for a very long time. He was on Last Comic Standing ages ago. He came in 5th, but one of the people ahead of him passed away, so technically he came in 4th. I love talking to comedy fans because I feel like they always ask me, okay, on the down low, let me know, is this person a jerk or are they nice? And sometimes I'll tell them. Sometimes I'll tell them the truth. Mike Kaplan, so nice. Such a nice guy. Mike sporadically will text me compliments or, hey, I saw this thing. It made me think of you. And it's just nice. And I know that he does this to a lot of comedians, actually. And it's just so nice. It's an industry where people are envious of each other and focused on themselves. And it's really cool just to have someone around who's so vocally supportive of others. And when you get a text from Mike Kaplan, it makes you feel like, oh, I should pay this forward. I should send someone a compliment. I should be more vocal when I like stuff that other people are making. So, cool guy in my book, if anyone's keeping score of which comedians are nice in real life. Mike is a really good joke writer. I follow him on Threads. I don't know if you have Threads or Twitter or what. I don't know what to do with his hair. But yeah, he makes these really short one-liner jokes, very succinct jokes, and they're very impressive in, the word economy. That's what we call it, like a one-liner joke that has so few words, but has a successful setup and punchline. That's good word economy. That's what comedians say. So he's very good at word economy, but also a lot of his jokes also happen to be very wise. Say something spiritually or have some kind of psychedelic intonation to them. How we're all connected and, life is a gift and everything. This conversation kind of reminded me of when I was in art school and we would have visiting artists and lecturers come, and they'd, show a PowerPoint of their work, and they'd talk, give a big speech about like their artist statement and what drives them and what interests them and all this kind of stuff. This conversation, to me, watching it back and editing it down, really reminded me of that kind of thing, because Mike is talking about all kinds of philosophy and spirituality things that he's interested in, and you could totally see it in his work. I think when an artist is really self-assured and really honest about, here's what I'm trying to do with my work, and here's what inspires me, and here's what I'm thinking about, it's really cool. I love that kind of thing. I was also listening to this back. I was reminded of the show Midnight Gospel. Do you guys watch that? It's a show on Netflix, and it's Penn Ward, the guy who created Adventure Time. He does animation set to the comedian Duncan Trussell, like conversations that Duncan Trussell has. And Duncan, like Mike, is very, psychedelically experienced and interested and into spirituality and why are we here and all this stuff. And the cartoon is really cool. So Penn Ward animates these characters who talk about these heady spiritual things, very like vulnerable, trippy, but like vulnerable, and people being really in touch with their feelings kind of stuff. I was thinking about that listening to this conversation, because Mike is very similar. So, hey, if there's anyone out there listening to this who's into animation, I would love it. I would love it if you animated clips from this show. Yeah, I'd like to put out a PSA. Anybody who wants to make clips of this show, make edits of this show, please go ahead. Please edit clips of this show. Add animation, add nature footage, whatever you want to do, because the more people that know about the show, the better. So please, if you want to make fan edits, go right ahead. I hear the Cumtown guys say in interviews that like their show took off because fans would make these fan edits of like the best of Cumtown, or every time the Cumtown guys make fun of Italians, whatever the fan edit is. And I'm a little bit cynical about comedians, so I hear them say that in interviews, and I'm sort of like, was that organic? Did you maybe have to pay a couple people at the beginning to make fan edits, and then other people joined in? But yeah, I would love it if people would make fan edits. I would love it if people purchased bots to follow my stuff. That would be cool. I don't want to do that, but I know a lot of comedians who bought followers and bought publicity, and hey, I'm trying to get this podcast off the ground. If you could get a couple hundred people in India to comment how awesome these episodes are, I'm not complaining. I won't complain. What else do I want to say in my big monologue? I feel a very kindred spirit with Mike Kaplan. As some of you guys might know, I've been very compelled in the past year to be more loud and quote-unquote annoying about politics and stuff, and, try to educate people about what's going on in the world. But, try to make sure that it's funny, that I'm not just telling people to eat their vegetables. Make it digestible, funny, and make it nonpartisan. Don't just preach to the choir. I want to sincerely, I would like to change people's minds. And I feel like, get this, I feel like I'm focusing on the external, and Mike is doing the exact same thing as me, but for the internal. Because Mike is also a pacifist and, a peacenik and all these things. But with his humor, he does a lot of stuff about the self and, becoming a spiritual person or becoming vulnerable with yourself, learning about yourself, self-exploration. I think there's an implication there that if more and more people in society were introspective and were comfortable, taking LSD and thinking about the oneness of the universe, we'd have less war and bullshit, don't you think? I mean, that's probably why those drugs are illegal, right? If you have an underlying medical condition where you should not be taking LSD or mushrooms or anything like that, please do not take LSD or mushrooms or anything like that. This podcast only condones psychedelic use if you are medically okay to do so. Anywho, with no further ado, here's my chat with Mike Kaplan, the amazing, incredible comedian.
Do I have to know anything or just be a person?
Yeah, okay. Just be a person.
That camera is,
talk
to
here's the
you?
wide. That's if you want a ham. I do a lot of hamming.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably ham some. I'm a handsome young man.
That's right.
47 years young.
I can't believe you're 47.
Well,
you look young.
That's in the rules of our society. That is kind of you to say. Yeah.
If we were in a different society.
Oh yeah, that could be the
fighting
gravest
words
of insults. Yes.
Welcome to the Mary Houlihan Show. It's the only podcast hosted by a girl in the world. And today I'm joined by the magnificent Mike Kaplan.
Thank you so much for having me, Mary.
You're welcome.
What an honor to be on the only podcast in the world hosted by a girl.
Yeah, can you believe it took so long?
Wow, I mean, you probably have your choice of guests, so it's quite an honor and a delight. You're a wonderful person. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Dax Shepard wanted to do it today, and I said, no, Dax.
Wow.
Dax, no.
He's going to need some armchair therapy after
That's
that rejection. Right. Is that the name of his podcast? I think I got it.
I do believe so.
I think it's something like that. Okay, good.
So you have a comedy special that I'm going to pretend is currently out.
If it's after November 19th, 2025, then it is. You don't even have to pretend.
That's right.
Yeah. It's out. It's out now, if now is then.
Your comedy special is called Rini.
That's right.
But that's also what your girlfriend is called.
That is what I love how you put that. That it's both, Rini is both what my comedy special and girlfriend are called. And Mary, I'll have you know, it's no coincidence.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's not like I had this special in the works and then I met this woman. I'm like, kismet. I mean,
perfect.
I did meet the woman and it was like fate, I mean, in the way that I think that anything, all of the past is fate.
Of course.
All of the future is free will, and that neither the future nor the past exist. But yeah, Rini, since 2016, I have loved and will continue. We're not married, and that's kind of part of what the special is about. We're together forever. We love each other. Marriage, who cares? If you want it, great, enjoy it. We might. But the point is, we're going to be together forever. We plan to not die if possible.
That's awesome. That's a good plan.
Yeah, that's our goal. Yeah, it's just I'm so excited for people to be able to watch it because I love Rini and I love the special that we made together.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're very nice.
So are you.
Oh, thank you.
We both went to the same high school. And we were both called gay.
For sure. Yeah. I guess I'll set the record straight by saying it wasn't everybody all the time saying it.
No.
It wasn't, it's kind of like the way that people perceive heckling in comedy. Like people are like, wow, I wouldn't want to deal with it. How do you deal with a heckler? And like you, every once in a while, you deal with a heckler.
Yeah.
But it's usually not all show, and it's usually not every show. I'd say most of comedy is not dealing with hecklers.
Yes.
And similarly, most of my high school experience was like, learning things in class,
same.
hanging out with people. But just every once in a while, I'm carrying my violin case, and somebody's like, "What you got in the bag?" I was like, "My violin case?" Is like, "What are you, gay?" I was like, I don't even think he did the work of homophobia.
Yes, I had a similar thing. One time I was wearing a shirt, it said Pixies, like the rock and roll
The
band.
band, rock and roll, they're rocking
Oh, they're rocking,
and
babe.
rolling. Yeah.
And this boy named Jesse F.
Wow. Real name, real initial.
He said, "Does your shirt say Dykes?"
Oh,
And I was like, I don't even understand.
I mean,
That's not a funny one.
is it possible that he just couldn't read?
It's very possible.
There's we always hear about intersectionality in
Sure.
the beautiful, meaningful ways that, when you're an activist and you're protesting against homophobia and, perhaps animal rights and, rights for minorities like people of color, like the black liberation and, like all of these, like, of course, like, none of us are free until all of us are free. But we don't talk as much about the intersectionality of ignorance. Maybe
Sure.
somebody who thinks that it's bad to be gay also can't spell that,
Yes, and that's such an important group.
Yes. Yeah. And here's the thing, too, because there are many people that can't spell that are cool and want, gay people to be happy and don't believe that you're gay if you like the Pixies.
Yes, yeah.
But just can't spell because sometimes people can't spell.
It's frankly true.
Yeah, it's not immoral to not be able to spell.
Did you know that other comedians went to our high school?
You know who I know? Dan Pashman. Do you know this guy?
I didn't know he went to our school.
I believe he did.
One more.
Dan Pashman of the Sporkful podcast
Yes, yeah.
show situation. I think he was a year older than me, so
Okay.
even more before your time.
Yes, yeah.
Because we did not go at the same time. Let the
No,
record
no.
be known. But who else?
Laura Murley.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so. I'm sure that she and I must have talked about that, and I forgot it.
Her brother was in my grade.
Wow.
Patrick.
Patrick Murley as well?
Yes.
That checks out.
And Chloe Trost of SNL fame.
Wow. Look at us.
Look at us. Hilarious
She's on
school.
SNL. We're on the Mary Houlihan show.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same level.
MHS. Yeah. 3 letters.
Yep.
That's all you need. Where did you go to college? Did you go to college?
Yes, I went to San Francisco Art Institute.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you've been not living in New Jersey ever since?
Well, actually, so I went to college and then I was like, I want to be a comedian.
Sure.
So I should move to New York or Los Angeles.
Right.
And I thought I should move to New York because it will be easier.
Got a launch pad there.
So then I moved in with my parents and I would commute to open mics. And then several times I would move to New York and then I would run out of money and then I would go back to my parents' house.
I understand. Like in a video game, it's got to start over.
Yeah.
Go back to the beginning of the level.
Exactly.
Start gathering those coins.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that checks out.
And during COVID, I moved to the woods in New Jersey.
Oh, not with your parents.
No, in a log cabin.
Wow, by yourself?
Yeah.
Interesting. How was that?
It was cool. I thought it was a fun experiment, and I was making a lot of zines at the time.
Oh man,
And so,
I love when people make zines.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you know the comedian? I gotta get his name right. I'll think about it.
Sure.
There's so many words and people and things to theoretically keep track of.
There's a lot of things to keep in your one brain.
Yeah.
Very hard.
We say brains. You got brains, but really,
you really only have one.
Just the one. You got two halves of it.
Of
if you
course,
split it
hemispheres.
that way, absolute hemispheres. That's a good word for them. It's, in fact, the word for them. That's why it's so good.
Yep.
But anyway,
they nailed it with that.
Yeah, love. What would you, when you make a zine? And I don't mean to take over the interview portion of your show.
Oh, sure, yes.
What kinds of zine contents were you writing? Was it poetry, fiction, nonfiction, drawings, photos, combination?
They were funny, and they were a mix of pictures and writing. And I would compare the humor to like ClickHole. It was almost having like a paper ClickHole that I would mail to people.
Cool.
And so then, so I started that before I moved to the woods. And then once I moved to the woods, all of my zines were, I was writing a book called Walden But Good.
A great name.
Because, of course, Henry David Thoreau wrote Walden about living in a cabin in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I would, all of my zines became Walden, Walden 2, Walden 3, Walden 4. And one person did write in and said, I still like the zine, but it's a little less variety ever since all the Waldens. And I think my goal was to write an actual book, but it has not materialized yet.
Still on the way. And let me say this. I'm going to say a thing that it probably will sound like I'm saying a sincere thing.
Okay.
And maybe there will be some sincerity involved.
We'll see.
But I do want to let you know that my purpose is to make a joke. I'm ultimately going to be making a joke. So please don't hold me to anything that I'm saying. But when you're writing Walden 2, Walden 3, Walden 4, like this is something that I feel like, I don't know if you felt this way. Obviously, the person who wrote in and said like, hey, this is kind of like the same thing. But did you ever feel like you were trapped? As if you were like in this cabin, you're just in this one limited space. Did you ever feel that you were walled in?
Whoa.
That's all I wanted to say at that. So I'll take my answer off air.
Sure. Okay. Well, yes. Yes, the joke is funny.
Thank
and
you.
two, I would say sometimes I'd be living in the freaking woods and I'd be like, I got to finish this book.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, it's all for naught. I did kind of feel that way. But also, it was fun to do.
Oh, sure. Well, here's the one Henry David Thoreau factoid
I'm
that
ready.
I can offer. Thoreau was once asked what he believed happened after we die. And his answer was one world at a time.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and so sometimes when I'm like, I got to do a lot of things, I'm like, one world at a time. I think Thoreau nailed it.
Yeah.
So, and perhaps, it makes sense, like very in the spirit of Thoreau, very thoroughly Thoreau, if you will, you needn't, to be focused on that one project while you were in that one place.
Yeah. So you do a lot of wordplay with your jokes.
That's true.
I saw you perform the other night, and you mentioned a type of language.
Is it the word familect?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to hear more about it?
Tell us what a familect is.
Sure. So I bet you've heard of a dialect.
Of course.
I studied linguistics, which is the study of language, sort of the philosophy thereof, the sociology of, many, many aspects. A language is, what, I don't know, the people of a certain land speak. And then a dialect could be like, in British English, for example, there's the Cockney dialect, right? It's still English, exactly. Yeah, apples and pears, Cockney rhyming slang. Are you familiar? It's a really...
No. What's apples and pears?
It means stairs.
What? Wait, I have heard of this.
And so do you remember the movie Ocean's 11?
Uh-huh.
The character played by Don Cheadle was a Cockney speaker.
All
and at one
right.
point he says, if this doesn't happen, we're going to be in deep Barney. And they're like, Barney? Deep Barney? What's that? And I mean, something's going to explode. I feel like they should get out of there, whatever it is. But he's like, Barney Rubble? Trouble? So that's, and like trouble and strife means wife. So there's like
Of
a bunch
course,
of these.
yes.
Probably way more than, I think I know those three. But so Cockney is a dialect of English, but a familect is a even more local dialect. So a dialect that exists only within, a household or a family or a friend group where inside jokes might prevail. Like here's an example from my own family. My mom and I talk on the phone most days and have done ever since her mother died, which was right at the beginning of the pandemic. Sometimes my mom would tell me, we'd maybe talking at 1 p.m., and she would say, okay, I'm going to get off the phone because I'm going to have breakfast. She hadn't eaten yet. She's like, breakfast or lunch or brunch or, the first meal of the day. I do say sometimes that my style of comedy is my mom on the phone. And,
Gotcha.
Kind of a jazz filibuster. Not to say, we need to talk more efficiently, but I was like, if you want, as opposed to going back and forth between all those four options, breakfast, brunch, lunch, first meal, I'm like, it's definitely first meal. So you could, anytime you want, if you want to just say first meal. And my mom really took to it and started just saying, she's like, yes, I'm going to get off the phone and have first meal now. And then later it can evolve. And she's like, yeah, and then I'll have second meal, in a couple hours.
Firsties.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I tell you a familect of mine?
I wish you would.
Okay, well, get this. My brother's name is Terrence.
Terrence.
So guess what I'm called in the house?
Marance?
Yes.
Wow. And is this brother older?
Yes.
So Terrence came first, and then does he ever go by Terry?
Yes.
So
usually.
Yeah, Terrence, Terry, Marance, Mary.
Yeah, get it?
I do get it. And how do you feel about being called Marance?
I mostly like it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that sounds too boyish.
Mm-hmm.
But I think mostly I like it. Yeah. I feel like my mom, the way that people would say, what's your middle name?
Adam.
Michael Adam Kaplan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, am I in trouble?
I get called Marance like that sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I could see you not, it's so interesting the way that before, 5 minutes ago, if somebody said Marance to me, it would have had no meaning. I'd never heard it before.
How to spell it.
Right? No. Is it Marence?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I'd spell it now because now I understand it all. I understand everything. That's so interesting. I did a show once in Winnipeg, Canada. I did many, actually. But at this one particular Winnipeg show at a comedy club called Rumors, or so they say. I've enjoyed my time there. And at this particular show, there was a bachelor party that had come, which is interesting. I feel like classic comedy, you're like, a bachelorette party,
Right, yes.
Bachelor party, strip club, bachelorette party, comedy club.
But these bachelors want to laugh.
They wanted to laugh. And I remember, I forget the exact who was who, but the bachelor, I believe the person to be married, was either named Jaden. I think it was Jaden. And his brother was there, and his brother's name was Raiden.
Oh my God, Raiden.
Raiden, like from Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that's why they did that, but
Probably.
here's my favorite part is that they have another brother, and you know what his name is?
Playden.
That's a great guess.
Thank you.
I'm Raiden and Jaden's brother is named Jeffrey. And here's a fun, I don't know if you like guessing games. Guess what order the birth order is. I think I remember it correctly.
Jaden, Jeffrey, Raiden.
A fine guess, a great guess. I think it was Jeffrey first. And then Jaden, and then Raiden.
So, okay. So first they did Jeffrey, and then they were like,
Another J.
oh, we blew it.
Yeah.
Oh, we blew it.
We had a great idea. Oh, man.
well, from now on, we're going to name them right.
But here's the way that I'm conceiving of it now. You know that like an improv game you can do where like one person writes a sentence and then the next person looks at that sentence and writes the next sentence. Then the first sentence gets covered up. And then the third person, kind of like a game of telephone, only gets to look at the most recent sentence. And then you keep covering up. And so then at the end, you have a story where each sentence is connected to the next one, but then the third one might have nothing to do with the first one. And that's what happened with those names. They're like Jeffrey with a J, Jaden with a J. Raiden rhymes with Jaden.
I like that. That's a good order.
Imagine if the fourth child was named Referee.
Yeah. Oh, then that would be perfect.
Then he could be the referee.
That's right.
Yes.
So you were also talking in your stand-up act the other night about your grandma.
I was. Oh, yeah.
And that she was an atheist, but also Jewish.
Totally.
Are you an atheist and Jewish?
That's a great question. I certainly, in my life, have been identified by myself and others as both of those things. Have you heard this idea? They say that if you're Jewish, anyone who is more Jewish than you is a lunatic.
Oh, that's funny.
And anyone who is less Jewish than you is are they even Jewish? Right.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like there's a Carlin joke that's like that too with driving. He's like, anyone driving faster than you is a maniac. Anyone driving slower than you is an idiot. I had this woman on my podcast once named Ashton Applewhite, and she is an anti-ageism activist.
Interesting.
And I am an alliteration enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
Ashton introduced to me the concept of like, of course it's not that there's young and old, there's younger and older. And like ageism is, where there's like discrimination against either the older or the younger. Like could go in either direction, but it's not the old or the young because those aren't absolute points. And so I would say my Jewishness is similar in that like I do not do a lot of practice. Like I was bar mitzvahed. I learned Hebrew, how to speak it growing up. I learned about the Torah and like stories from Jewish history. And then after my bar mitzvah, I basically chose not to engage a ton anymore. In my adulthood, I have some friends who are more practicing than I have been to, events, services, weddings and such. And I have a good friend of mine whose mother is a rabbi, and so he has a much more like a wealth of information and stories, and so he'll share like teachings and ideas with me. And now, like from a distance, like it's kind of like the way that when you're a child, at first you're, for most people, part of your mother's body, and then you come out, but then you're kind of still like you look to them, you're like you skin your knee, you're like, what? They're like they help regulate you up until a point. And then like as a teenager, you start to differentiate and you rebel and you're like, I'm my own person. Like, get out of here, mom and dad, or mom and mom, or dad and dad, or parent and parent, or whoever. And then, by the time you're 25, you're like, your brain is fully formed and you're an adult and you're a separate-ish individual. And then sometimes a lot of people, might rebel against like the religion of their parents or the culture or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to do my own thing, you guys. And then sometimes as an adult, you might maybe be like, oh, maybe they weren't so off with that thing. I'll do it my way though. Like my mom never let me play with toy guns.
Okay.
Like she was very anti-toy gun. And I wanted to because I was
Guns rock.
A little socialized boy, and I played video games with punching and fighting and kicking, and my mom, we had the Nintendo came with like the zapper for Duck Hunt, and my mom threw it away. Wasn't allowed to have water guns. Like, and I had some GI Joes, threw away their tiny guns. Like nothing. I was like, why? I'm like, she couldn't make me not like make my fingers go like this. But eventually, I in adulthood became vegan. I would say I'm a pacifist, like big fan of like the Society of Friends that some people call the Quakers, who are often like conscientious objectors when there's a war and violence. I'm very anti-violence. So I feel like for a while I was like, no, but I'm like now, I'm my mom, instilled these things, and perhaps who knows what I would have come to on my own. And I think if I was allowed to have a toy gun, I probably still would be basically the person that I am, but I wasn't, and here I am. And so I feel like Jewishness as well. For a while I was like, nah, I'm more into, and I love Buddhism. I've been learning a lot about Buddhism, and there's like all these stories of, wise like Buddhist teachers like saying cool things like in Zen koans and stuff. And then my Jewish friend introduced me like, there's some of those in Judaism also. And there's like, these really great Jewish jokes and, wise stories from the Talmud. And so I was 22 when 9/11 happened, and that was like kind of a formative like experience for just me, not anybody else.
Yeah,
and,
correct.
But I remember like I was dating a Catholic woman at the time and went with her to like a Catholic like a spaghetti dinner. And I literally remember asking the priest, kind of like the equivalent, like, why do bad things happen to good people? I'm like, how does God allow such, if the God, is all powerful, why, and all loving, why this? The priest says, what can he say? He's like, God is in like the hearts and minds of the rescuers, of the firefighters.
I like that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was like, but couldn't he have done something in advance?
Can't nothing bad happen ever?
And one thing that I love about Buddhism is that my understanding is that the Buddha is omniscient, omnibenevolent, omnipresent, but specifically not omnipotent, all-knowing, all-loving, all places, but not all-powerful, because if the Buddha, if an all-loving, all-knowing being was everywhere and was all-powerful, then they could and would snap their finger and make it so that no one was suffering. But that is not how the Buddha operates. It certainly doesn't seem like it's how the universe operates. And so I was like, oh, that's a good explanation.
Yeah.
Like, if the priest had told me that, I'd be like, oh yeah, so Buddhism is for me. But so at that point I was just like, yeah, I mean, previously my thought was like, I'm like, what happens when we die? I don't know, something or nothing. And I was like, it makes me not feel good to imagine nothing. I was like, nothing, that's, I've always been something. I like something. We can do our best to make, heaven on earth as best as we can, to help eliminate the suffering where we can, and accept it where we can't, and bring joy and connect. And I would say that the shift, sort of like the fluidity of my shift away from identifying as an atheist, happened with psychedelics.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, around 25, I started having a greater understanding than I did have for why someone might, and such as myself, might like feel connected to everything, like including obviously, the pain and the joy that, sort of is like the flip sides of the coins of life, and in a Buddhist paradigm, the first noble truth is that there is suffering, and the second is the causes of it. The third is that there can be an end to it, and the fourth is the path to the end of suffering. To your question, which seemed like it could have a simple yes or no answer. Long story longer. I would say like that. Am I an atheist? I would say on a binary yes or no, no. But the question of like what do I believe in is a more complex essay question. Well, here's one final, perhaps final-ish thought about this. I have a friend who's a rabbi, named Jay Michelson, and he also teaches like Buddhist meditation. And he was on my podcast many years ago and said a thing that I think about all the time. And he said, a rabbi said, God does not exist. God is existence. And I think that that's really beautiful and, kind of operates in my system like a Zen koan. But I like the idea that, if God is everywhere, then God is everything, and then God includes all of this in the same way that our bodies are made up of all these tiny cells and atoms that are constantly like splitting and being replaced. And who knows if like waves in the ocean, like if a wave was like, wee, it's me, oh no, I'm gonna be gone, oh no, I'm back into the everything. Our solar system kind of also looks like the nucleus of an atom with electrons spinning around it, and maybe our solar system is, one atom in a massive,
That'd be cool.
entity that is the universe, that is God. And like God is like, hey, why would God allow these things? Like, why do we allow anything to happen inside our body? I mean, sometimes it's just
Oh, I like that.
what happens.
That blew my mind.
You got it.
That's so true. I don't know what's going on in my kidney.
Do you know?
I can't be blamed for what's happening there.
Exactly. Do you know? You ever listen to Alan Watts?
Yes. You know who sent me an Alan Watts video just this morning?
What? I don't.
Clark Jones.
Oh,
The comedian Clark Jones.
Love Clark Jones.
Yes, I was talking to Clark Jones, And I was saying to him, like, we're talking to each other about, you know, hypocrisy and things we don't like, and how you see hypocrisy and you want to speak up, but then sometimes you're like, I probably shouldn't. I should just lead by example, and I'll just upset myself if I'm always ranting and raving about what's not fair and this person isn't doing things right. And he sent me this video from Alan Watts, and it was a whole lecture about how you can see hypocrisy and you can see people behaving badly, and you can Alan Watts says in this example, you can go to a party, and in the party you could see, oh, these people are being fake to each other, and this person seems like they're having a hard time. Why isn't anyone asking them why they're having a hard time? You could be ranting and raving about how unjust, how unfair everything is, but then you'd be alone. Or if you don't say anything and you just go along with it, you're also spiritually alone. You're losing yourself. So you kind of have to observe this and know what's true, but also not try to be a control freak and not try to control everyone else. And if you have a couple buddies that you can talk to about, oh, everything's so messed up, that's perfect. You should have a couple buddies who you can be super honest with, but be elegant and don't be a jerk who calls out everything.
Oh, yeah. You know, do you know Ramin Nazer, who opened for me?
Of course,
the other
yes,
day?
yeah.
I just did his podcast yesterday, and he told me a story that I'll paraphrase and probably get some details wrong.
Okay.
But he was telling about, like, maybe it was a debate or something between a Taoist who was like, you know, kind of a chill dude, and then a, I don't know, non-Taoist who was like in a suit and, you know, more aggressive. And that the Taoist, you know, the idea of Taoism, as I, you know, rudimentarily understand it, is that the Tao is the way, you know, the way of everything, you know, that, and everything, like, you can go with it and you can go against it, but even if you're going against it, maybe it makes it harder for yourself. It's like if you're swimming against the current of a river that's, you know, carrying you away, like, it's still gonna probably take you, like, you might as well go with the current. You know?
Yeah.
Go with the flow. And like breathing, you know, like while we're alive, we're breathing. You can you can hold your breath, but eventually you won't hold your breath. And while you're alive, you're going to be breathing, whether you're thinking about it or not.
Yeah.
You can think about it. You can meditate. You can do it more measuredly and relax, but like, you don't even have to think about it. You're doing it. You're breathing. You're fine. You're alive. Right.
Yes.
And so the Taoist is like, you know, so express something like that about going with the flow, with the way of things. And the other guy was like something like, what if it was Nazi Germany? What if it's the 40s and you're in Germany? You gonna just go with the flow then? What are you gonna do? And the Taoist is like, no, probably I would fight back against that then. And the guy's, well, then I guess you're not that good at Taoist then, are you? And
What
the
a
Taoist,
jerk.
the Taoist is like, yeah, I guess you're right. And then just left. And
That's cool.
And like truly in that moment, went with the flow, like demonstrating, like living the truth of his experience. He's like, yeah, you're probably right. Like the way that gossip serves like a social function, I think also like complaining can serve a social function. Like you're talking about, you have your buddies with whom you're like, can you believe it? And you're like, thank God,
Yes,
something.
somebody
Wow.
gets it.
Those people out there, whoa. What other people think about us is none of our business,
course,
they
yeah.
say. And so yeah, what energy is worth expending? The Alan Watts thing that I was going to bring up is that he talks about the different paradigms of the creation of the universe and how it works. He separates the Chinese one and the Indian one, and so the Indian one is that it's like all a drama, that everyone is like God in drag, as like Ram Dass and RuPaul say, that, you know, that we're all like just faces, different facets and aspects of God that is everything, but we forget, you know, we don't know that we're all that thing, that we're all connected, we're all atoms in this gigantic entity or whatever. And but however often, some thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, like it comes to a head, and then we wake up and we're like, oh wow, and now let's go back to sleep and dream the dream that we're all separate again. And that's the Indian version of reality as drama. And then comparing the two, our Western like creation myths to Chinese ones, our Western ones are like the universe is constructed. Like Jesus was a carpenter. Like God has created, like physically, like created things.
In a week, no less.
Yeah, exactly. And so, when we talk about like, how, like, where did I come from? How was I made? That's a question that Alan Watts says a child might ask in our society. But he says that a Chinese child would never ask, how was I made? He would ask, how was I grown? Because
Whoa.
their idea is that it's more like the way that apple trees grow apples, the planet grows peoples. How are you growing your hair? How are you beating your heart? How are you, your endocrine system? How is that functioning? We're like, I don't know.
Right.
Like that's just that's happening in the universe all of the time. And that in that paradigm, there is no just, all powerful being controlling it all. It's just like, well, it's what's been happening, It happened before and it's happening again. And we'll just keep on doing it.
I liked when you were talking about your atheist Jewish grandma because that resonated with me because my parents are atheist Catholics.
Sure.
And my mom will kill me if she sees this because she'll say, I'm not an atheist. No, I'm not.
I love it.
My dad is openly an atheist. And even if I say that, my mom's like, no, he's not. My dad told me one time that when he was a kid, the actress Patty Duke, who I think is Sean Astin's mom.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think that's true. He said she was like the Lindsay Lohan of back then because she was in
The Parent Trap.
Because she was in the Parent. She wasn't in the Parent Trap, but she was in.
Was she not?
No, that was what's her name? The blonde one.
Oh, Haley Mills?
Yes.
Ah,
Wow, you got that quick.
I did. Well, what was Patty Duke in? Just
I'm
the
not
Patty
sure.
Duke show?
But
Okay.
he was saying that she was in like kids type media, and then she became a bad girl, like Lindsay Lohan.
Totally.
And that she would do interviews. She started dressing sexy and smoking cigs or whatever, drinking alcohol.
Wow.
And she said in an interview that she grew up Catholic, but now she's atheist, and that it doesn't make sense to her to go to church on Sunday. Why does God care if you go on Sunday? Why don't you go on Monday night? Why don't you go 12 in the morning? And my dad said that he read this and it like,
Yeah.
he was like, that's so true. And, but because of his culture, he was forced to go to church and go to Catholic school. And then when he was a grown up, he was happy to do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And so we grew up not going to church, but we had to pretend that we were going to church for our grandparents. So
What a life.
So we got, all the sacraments, the baptism, the confirmation, the communion, and everything in between. But I very rarely went to church. And anytime I did go to church, it was very awkward because there's lots of standing and
You don't
sitting.
know when to do the things.
There's a couple speeches you have to do.
And also with you. Yeah.
Yes. There's a speech you have to do called the Nicene Creed.
Oh, boy.
It's kind of like the Pledge of Allegiance of church, but way longer. And so if you don't go to church, you're just like lip syncing and maybe getting a word here or there.
Amen.
Where you're like seated at the right hand of the Father.
Oh, yeah.
And as a child, I would feel so embarrassed. I would feel like everyone's looking at me. Everyone knows I don't know the Nicene Creed.
I hear that. I feel that. Sometimes I say that I'm a lapsed atheist.
Okay. I like that.
Or a
That's
cultural
fun.
atheist.
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, that's great fun. I like that.
Yeah, it's like I don't really practice, but I kind of go to the...
I go through the motions. Yeah.
Like, I would say that in my household growing up, music was more like religion than religion was. Like my parents were music teachers. My mom especially wanted me to love music. So they started me early on violin, and I didn't love it. I was like made to go to these classes and lessons and all these, like every Saturday to like all day, these different teachings and groups that I was in, and I had to do it. I was made to do it. At like this way that some people might be made to go to church or synagogue or Sunday school or mosque or temple or what have you. Have you heard this? Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
Yeah.
And so I feel like similarly, like before I had an understanding of why, like I didn't love music before, but because I was doing it so much, not by my own volition. But when I discovered the guitar and taught myself guitar in high school, I was like, I love it. And then I was able to love the violin. And now that I don't have to do it, now I love it. I'm like, the fruits of, the seeds that have been planted early on, I'm like so glad that I was made to do those things because now I have this, I can speak this language. I have this capacity. I can create music and enjoy music in specific ways. And so I feel like that is the goal for people who want their children, like for people who really, truly, feel like Christ-like love or, in whatever, field of religious study, like that. There's something that they're.
I like that. That's how I feel about like Catholicism. And I'll give you another weird anecdote about my father.
Please.
When you get your confirmation, they send you to like a slumber party where
you hook up with everyone.
You hook up with everyone, and I guess like a speaker talks to you and stuff like that. And everyone in your family is supposed to write you a letter, and then you're supposed to be in your bunk bed reading it. And people really, they really just like, I love you, like more birthday card style. And
Have a great summer.
Yes, yeah. And my dad didn't really understand the assignment.
Wow.
And so he wrote me pages on yellow legal pad about how I don't believe in God, but I'm lucky that I had the seed planted because as an adult, the things I've seen and
wow.
And I've met people who cheat on their spouses and people who act unethically, and I just think, thank God I had a little bit of a moral compass, and I don't know if I had a moral compass if I had not had this seed planted, and maybe I'd be like all these creeps out there. And so I think he was too vivid about how evil everyone is.
Oh, boy. Well,
which I guess brings me back to Alan Watts. I guess he also was doing a good job of observing people being evil and going along with his life.
He thought you were his buddy, and you weren't prepared.
No, I was a child.
At that point, that was he told the wrong person at that, maybe the right person at the wrong time. Like,
yes,
that'd be a cool thing to like find out when you're both adults.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But I was like, this is inappropriate to write to a child.
So that, oh man, that's so funny. On the subject of, hey, why go to church on Sunday? What does God care? When New Year's comes around and people do resolutions, I'm like, why then? Like,
sure,
if you're like, if it's like October and you're like, in 2 months, I'm going to start being healthier. I'm going to start like exercising more. I'm going to start, going to the gym. I'm going to start eating better in 2 months. I'm like, why you want to start? Can you start now? Why you want to?
No.
Why you got to do it?
You got to wait.
I'm like, why you got to be in the pocket of big calendar? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so I'm like kind of like a New Year's Grinch. I'm like, just do it whenever. But now that was my old self. Now I'm like, hey, if you want to do it on New Year's, go for it. If that helps you out, go for it. Have a good time. So you want to go to church on Sunday? Go for it. Like, it doesn't make, like, if you don't want to go, don't go. Absolutely. Have a good time. I mean, many people go on other days as well.
It's true.
But when I was at my summer camp, I went to this summer camp from when I was 11, and I became a music counselor into my 20s. I remember these two specific kids. One, who's still my friend now. We're both adults now. This was, 20 years ago or whatever. And his name is Oleg. And Oleg was like an incredible student. Like every time I showed him some chords, I taught him to play some songs, and he would come back a few days later. He's like, showed me, he's like, he practiced and he did it. And he's like, oh, that's incredible. Great. You did it. And by the end of the summer, I'm like, I think I taught you like everything I know about the guitar. You should get a different teacher and learn more if you want to learn more, but because you got it. It didn't take anything for me to teach him. I just showed him what I knew, and he learned it. And he practiced it on his own because like the way that the Buddha can't snap and make everybody's suffering go away, I also couldn't practice for him. I could, show him the door. He had to walk through it in the parlance of the Matrix. But then I had this other student whose name it was actually many, but so it was a conglomerate of this one who I would show a few chords, and then he would come back a week later and he'd be like, I don't really remember them. I'm sorry, I didn't really practice. And I'd show him again. And like, here's the thing is, it didn't bother me. I wasn't like, I'm not mad at him. I wasn't even like, you're cheating yourself. Like, 'cause I wanted him, if he wanted to learn, I wanted him to learn, and I would give him all the tools that I had, and I would help him in any way that I could, but like I couldn't do it for him. Like there's this Buddhist story about a monk who's hanging out with a king, and the king's like, I'm really busy. Can you meditate for me? And,
that's funny.
And the monk is like, I will, but here's real quick, I have to pee. If you can pee for me, then I'll meditate for you. And it's like, I can't. And the king was like, off with his head, probably,
Sure, yeah.
And could use some meditation. But so I feel like in my analogy, where I'm the guitar teacher, I'm kind of like God, and I don't care,
Sure,
I'm just like,
yeah.
do it for you if you want to. The benefits of being a part of a religious community, which I've experienced with like psychedelic communities, for example, or the comedy community, or, other like-minded, if you have a special interest that is shared with others. Rini right now is learning sign language. She's part of the sign language and deaf community and has like new friends because of
That's cool.
that activity. It's awesome. That's one of the beautiful things about any religion that operates like functionally is that communal, that the communion of it, the connection with. I feel like the purpose of life for humans is connection with other humans, with each other, with ourselves, and that I think that's a valid definition of God, is that that connection, that attention, that love, that mindfulness, that caring. Those actions, for social justice and just helping each other because it's messed up out there, and like we can do what we can, as individuals, as little teams, as big institutions, if we can, And so I do feel like, if I was talking to your dad and he was like, that blew my mind. Why go on Sunday? Doesn't have to be Sunday. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be at all. It doesn't have to be Sunday, but it's sort of like, here, I wonder if I could blow your dad's mind in the other direction to be like, hey, why are we driving on the right? In England,
Let's start
they drive
driving
on the left. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter whether, it's just like, let's all drive on the same side. So like, if you want to get together with people and they're like, hey, I'm not doing anything Sunday, then Sunday's a good day for it
yes.
because I'm working a lot of the other
practical.
days. Yeah.
Yeah. How do I want to end this incredible episode?
I don't want to end it, but I understand.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh boy, isn't that like the ultimate in life? Oh man, life. Parts of it are the one they feel good, but then you're like, oh, Ramin, I'll tell you,
Sure.
has this piece of art that I like where it's like two figures sitting back to back, kind of like dejected, and one of the figures is like all black and darkness, and one of them is all rainbow colored and beautiful, and the beautiful rainbow colored one I think is thinking or saying, he's like, feels good but not gonna last, and the other one's like, feels bad, probably forever,
Oh, that's fun.
And good news, almost nothing probably forever. So if feeling bad, this too shall pass of it. Like the guide I've gone to for ayahuasca ceremonies many times over the years would sometimes talk about the experience of like, the effects come and the effects go. So for everything. So I understand that this podcast, this show, quote unquote, must end.
Mike Kaplan, I hope this podcast never ends, and I hope that you live forever.
Same.
And I hope everyone checks out your special, Rini, because it's so funny.
Thank you so much, Mary. I love talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Turn it on!
And there you have it. My chat with Mike Kaplan, the incredible comedian. Check out his special, Rini, on YouTube. It's available now, and you're going to love it. Once you watch Rini, you're going to want to go on a deep dive and get into all things Mike. And you'll be better for it. Bye-bye.
Later, sucker!